First off, thank you all for coming. The idea behind this is that I want to launch a trade association for construction roll form. The same reasons it made sense to launch the magazine and launch the show apply toward an association. A couple of things. First thing that you should know is you should know what we're bringing to the party. Who we are, Shield Wall Media. This is kind of preaching to the choir because everybody here knows me, but hey, we're a publishing company. We've got 5 magazines. Right now we've got about 80,000 deduped subscribers. So that means 80,000 unique people that get one of our magazines. We're launching another magazine in February, and we've got plans to launch more. We've got the construction roll forming show that you just all survived the first one, and then in 2021 we're going to launch the Garage, Carport, and Shed Builder show. This one's a little bit different because this one is a manufacturer and distributor-based show. Garage, Carport, and Shed Builder is going to be a contractor-based show, but it's still a trade show. As we add magazines, we add shows. The way that we add magazines is we pick an unserviced market niche where we can capture about 60% of the required subscribers from our existing subscribers from the other publications. The other 40% is incremental growth. Sometimes it's organic, sometimes it's through marketing, but basically what it does is it expands our universe of people that we can touch. We've got other magazines in development. We're planning on launching one about every 6 months. The goal is to, by the end of 2020, to get us up to about 120,000 unique subscribers. And then after that, to get us to what is kind of an arbitrarily determined magic number of between 150 and 200,000. The reason behind that is once we get to 150 to 200,000, we're going to have a large enough database that we can launch anything that we decide to launch internally from what we got. The primary expense in launching a new magazine is acquisition cost and getting the readers. We'll have enough that if we want to launch a show, if we want to launch a magazine, if we've got some type of digital programming that we want to launch, we'll have the audience that we don't need to spend marketing dollars. We can look at it, we can pull the trigger, and that'll do 2 things. One of them is it'll make things profitable so they'll be more survivable. The other one means that it's not going to have a long turnaround time. If we decide that we need to launch a new magazine or a new show, we can do it in a matter of weeks to months instead of 6 months to planning or a year out. And I already talked past that one. What that means and why that relates to the Roll Forming Association, it means we've got a database. The database is something that we can disseminate information, but we can also gather information. So one of the things it's going to allow us to do is it's going to allow us, in this particular instance, to generate market data for the roll forming industry. Right now there is no actual useful data on the roll forming and construction side of the roll forming industry. There are some people that have attempted to generate reports on that, but I was involved with some of the interior machinations and the way it was collected, and the sample sizes were small to the point where the information is functionally useless. But one of the things with Roll Forming Magazine and the show, as that database grows, whenever we've got a sample size that reaches into the thousands, then we've got enough that we can actually use statistical analysis to create some legitimate market trends and perceptions of the market as a whole. And as a company, one of the things that we've come to realize is that what we actually have to market is the data, not the magazines, not anything else. It's having the industry metrics and everything associated with this, because in the particular niches we choose to serve, there's very little actual usable information available. One of the reasons that we wanted to do this is because this market is expanding, and I got into an argument with somebody on the trade show floor about where it's expanding and how it's expanding, and I didn't necessarily agree with their particular point, but the one thing that was common was that we both agreed that this was growing. Bunch of reasons. Asphalt prices are going up. The barrier to entry from price point from getting a roll former is coming down. People are getting a little bit more educated as far as the benefits of a metal roof versus asphalt. And as that happens, the number of people doing their actual roll forming is going to need to grow to meet that demand as metal roofing grows as part of the overall roofing market. Since it's growing right now and changing, we have the opportunity to potentially steer this and tweak it a little bit in a direction that we think it should go. And what the publications are, what the trade show is, what our data is our data is the bus that we're trying to drive, or our data is the hammer. Unfortunately, I'm not bright enough to know where the bus should go, or particularly find the nail. I'm the hammer guy. I'm not the nail guy. What the point of this is this is a work in progress, and this is designed to generate input from you to help me determine where we can take this and where it should go. The big picture is naturally to try to increase the market share for metal roofing and roll forming, because if the pie grows, everybody here does better. The question is how to do it. There's a bunch of different things. We can increase recognition of metal roofing by marketing to consumers, and that would be the same marketing channels that we would use for lead generation, establishing industry metrics and documenting trends so we know where it's going, so the manufacturers can be able to meet the demand for it. Establishing safety procedures is something that I've had both sides of this. I've had one person tell me safety procedures are already in place and there's already safety standards for roll formers, and then I had a manufacturer of roll formers saying we really need to have safety standards in place because none exist. So even if they do exist, there's obviously a marketing gap in getting the information out, because it was a major roll forming manufacturer, and if they don't know, there's chances are that other people don't either. Providing educational programming and training to bring people into the trades is something that everybody has been trying to do, and to the best of my knowledge, nobody has really been particularly successful at it yet. I'm not necessarily saying that we will be, but it's something that is a potential option to be considered. One other thing that I haven't seen anybody do that I think we should do is, if we do have an association, there are a lot of associated non-endemic products, like for example, insurance and payroll. Like we use a PEO to do our payroll. And the reason that that comes into play and we can get medical insurance is because it's a group rate with other people that they're associated with. If we can get the people in the industry to cooperate and shake hands and be friends for long enough to be treated as a cohesive group, we might have the opportunity to negotiate some things. And those aren't necessarily objectives or an end-all be-all. They're just kind of an off the top of the head list of things that potentially might make sense. What we really need to do, and what the purpose of this is to recruit people to help me figure out where we need to go. We're going to need board members for it because, like I said, I'm not a roll forming guy. I'm not really an industry guy. I'm just some guy that happens to have a trade show and a couple of magazines. You know your industry, you know what you need to do, and I need that help so that the tools that I have can better meet your needs. Would like board members from different sides of the industry, and I've talked to some other people that aren't in this room, but one of the things that I'm concerned about and I want to avoid is everybody wants to tweak it toward their particular corner of the world. And one of the challenges that I've dealt with in other associations is the people that are on the board essentially control things to the point where, and it's natural, but they favor their own best interests. And I would too, but there's two things that are going to happen, at least initially. One of them is I want to have a diverse number of people on the board so that we've got different perspectives. The other one is I don't really have a dog in the hunt as far as where this goes. I want the industry to grow, I want the manufacturers to grow, I want the trade show to grow, but I don't care if it's stationary roll formers, I don't care if it's portable roll formers, I don't care what flavor of panel it is, I don't care whether you use my coating or somebody else's coating. I want it to grow. So to some extent, I'm a non-biased outsider, and I'm looking for input, but one of the things to at least get it off the ground, I don't know where it's going to go eventually, but initially to get it off the ground, it's going to be something where, since they're my toys, I get to control the final end part of the decision-making process. And one of the things that I discovered in leaving corporate situation and coming to actually owning the magazines, whenever you don't have to pass things past bean counters in a committee and people who basically are paid to say no whenever they've got no clue or vision, stuff happens an awful lot faster. So it might give us an opportunity to make some progress on some things.
People are paid to say no vision.
One, pipe down.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Once we get things established and get the volunteers, we would have to actually convene a board of directors meeting so that we can create objectives, a mission statement, even though they're complete BS, but we have to at least have an idea of what we're doing. And the objectives, the steps of how to get there, we need an action plan, and then see who we can recruit outside of the small people that kind of get the ball started. The plan for the association is in 2020, membership to the Construction Rollforming Association is going to be free. There are going to be no dues. There are going to still be benefits. For example, whenever we get the Construction Rollforming Association website, the information that was recorded whenever the educational seminars were done will be posted there, and that will be free. The other things, as we progress, the objective of this is to try to create benefits for the association members so that we can prove to you why you should be a member before we say, hey, start giving me money. If people know that their money is going to actually accomplish something and it's going to come back to them and they get value for what they've given, they're more likely to be able to overcome a barrier and decide that they actually want to help and contribute. Excuse me. We're going to formally announce the Rollforming Association, assuming everything goes well, in January with newsletters, and put out an official call to try to get members and people willing to volunteer their time and official selections to the board of directors. That's me, and basically pretty much wraps this up. And this is more of a 8,000-foot big picture kind of thing, because there are so many details and so many things that I don't know that for me to try to put together specific objectives right now, I missed the bus. I had hoped originally to be able to be presenting industry data at this, surveys, because we've got the tools, we've got the audience. The problem is whenever I started putting that together, I realized that the questions that I was going to ask are questions that were important to me. They're not necessarily questions that are important to you. And rather than get list fatigue and burn everybody out and have somebody say, why is Reichert asking these stupid frickin' questions? I thought it made sense to try to enlist people that might have more insight from the beginning, rather than start off by taking 3 steps down the wrong path and going, well, there's 6 months that are gone away. So that's what I wanted to cover here. So the objective is to seek input and to surround myself with people that are way prettier and smarter than I am, so that we can pick a particular direction and use the tools that I can play with to help us go there. And for anybody unfortunate enough to watch this on YouTube or where it pops up, now it's time to go have a beer, watch whatever else you do, or have a good one. Thank you.